Welcome back to the TSV Sports Show. I am your host, Jasper Lindsay. Today I'm joined by Armand Archignani, Steven Risotto, Alvin Chang, and Marco Milani. Huge week for sports. Baseball is back, two national titles. The Masters is this weekend, and I think we're all looking forward to a little action from Jim Nance. But first, we got to get into hockey. Skating on Thin Ice with Marco Milani starts now.
And welcome to Skating on Thin Ice with me, Marco Milani. Brilliant introduction, by the way. So I'm going to be talking about something a little different today. I'm not going to be talking about the Sharks because they did not play last night. They are playing tonight, and I do not have line combinations for it right now. But there is a thing called a trade deadline coming up soon for the NHL. And TSN has released a trade bait list, and I'm going to break down the top 10 for you. One of the first things that pops up on this list is Taylor Hall. Obviously, Taylor Hall is one of the most highly touted trade pieces in this class this year. Of course, he signed a prove it deal with Buffalo for $8 million. Obviously, it hasn't worked out because Buffalo has been this year. And he is now number 3 on TSN's trade list. Number 1 on this trade list is actually a defenseman, David Savard of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's at a goal and 6 assists. And to a team that needs a right defenseman for the playoffs, it's going to be a very smart trade because his cap hit's only $4.25 million. So it's a very low risk, high reward situation. For the Sharks, there is one on here at number 27, Marcus Sorensen, who he's been kind of out of the lineup and kind of been on the fourth line. I think he's probably going to be the most likely going to be the first traded out because he hasn't put up a great performance this year. He's had spots the past couple of games because the fourth line has been producing actually all 4 lines have been producing extremely well the past couple of games. So good job, Sharks. But it's an only $1.5 million cap hit. He's a fourth line right wing who can create some chances. He's a good power penalty killer. So who knows? Another one on this list is actually another Shark, Devin Dubnyk, the goalie that was just acquired in the offseason from the Minnesota Wild. He's on the trade bait list. He's 34 years old. He has an .898 average. Obviously, Jones is coming into his own. If they do trade him, do not be surprised if there is a guy named Alexei Melnichuk coming up from the San Jose Barracuda. They signed him from the KHL over the offseason as well. Brilliant goalie. It's either going to be him or the other goalie down in the Barracuda, I think it's Joseph Cornosh. It's spelled Cornar, but it's Cornosh. So, other than that, pretty stacked list. If you want to check it out, it's on tsn.com. And that is Skating on Thin Ice. This trade deadline is going to be exciting.
Thank you, Marco. Always a pleasure. Moving on to the NCAA tournament. Baylor has had their one shining moment. And the game that everyone expected to be close and even to see Gonzaga complete the perfect season just wasn't there. I mean, Gonzaga honestly got punched in the mouth and could never recover, and Baylor was just lights out on defense. They pretty much beat Gonzaga at their own game. Armand, what did you see in this one?
Yeah, I think it was a really good performance from Baylor. I think Jared Butler was playing really good yesterday, and these were the 2 top teams in the NCAA tournament. I think they were the 2 number 1 teams that weren't really shaky at any time throughout the tournament. And Jared Butler played amazing. He showed his veteran leadership, and I think congrats to Baylor for taking down the number 1 squad throughout the year.
Yeah, and I mean, Jalen Suggs just could not hit a shot in the first half. It was kind of ugly to watch. Drew Timme got him going, but I think Jalen was able to pick it up in the second half a little bit more and lead that team. But obviously, Drew Timme getting into foul trouble and then getting hurt. I mean, Armand's gone. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Suggs, this is a guy who obviously this one's going to sting for Gonzaga because they had everything going for him. The perfect season was on the line. It just wasn't able to get done. But great win for Baylor. Great win for Maceo Teague, Jared Butler. Mitchell. And it's going to be exciting to see where they end up next year. All right, moving on to women's. Arizona came close, but no cigar. The Lady Cardinals got their first championship since 1992, and Vanderveer's third. Alvin, what did you see in this game?
Well, so, first of all, congratulations to Stanford women's basketball. They won the NCAA championship after 29 years. That's incredible. This game was tough, not an easy win. First, let's talk about what Stanford did great in this championship game. First, let Ari McDonough only scored 5 points in the first half. As we know, McDonough is a very talented player as she dropped over 30 points in Sweet 16 and Elite 8. However, in the championship game, first half, McDonough only got 5 points. I think Anna Wilson, which is Russell Wilson's little sister, she blocked Arizona passing route, so McDonough can catch the ball easily. Although Wilson only scored 5 points in the championship game, she did a wonderful job on defensive end and well communicated with her teammates. And, Stanford knows when McDonough is hot, she's unstoppable. Overall, McDonough only dropped 22 points in this game. At least they didn't allow McDonough to keep shooting hot from the first half. Second, I want to talk about Haley Jones, the sophomore guard, Haley Jones from Santa Cruz. She has a very good basketball IQ. In the championship game, Jones had 17 points along with 8 rebounds. Her off-ball movement is wonderful. When her teammate got double teamed in a corner, Jones would drive inside, catch the ball, make an easy layup. Or when her teammate got another double team in the high post, she knows how to create a backdoor opportunity for an easy layup. Number 3, I want to give a second X factor in this game, which is Lexi Hall. So the junior guard, Lexi Hall from Spokane, Washington. She's a second X factor in this championship game beside Haley Jones. Hall contributes 10 points with 10 rebounds in this game. Close to the end of second half, she made a clutch and one 3-pointer, let Stanford extend a lead by 7 in the first half. I think this shot is very important for Stanford mentally and physically before the second half start, because it gives them a confidence to move forward. Well, I feel sorry and then feel like kind of unfortunate for Arizona. They had a great season, especially for Ari McDonald. This kid, she is very talented and she has a very high basketball IQ, great athleticism. I think the bright future is waiting for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Arizona and UConn are 2 teams that I'm really going to look forward to try and have bounce back seasons next year, and we'll see how that goes. In other news, baseball's back. And I know Steve's excited. Maybe not for his Giants, but just to have baseball back in general. Steve, what did we see on opening day or opening week even that has you excited for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we saw the beauty of baseball in full swing. So I always make this analogy. In other sports, like for example, in basketball, we kind of already know what the playoff picture is going to look like for the most part. And, we could predict the finals and be spot on. And in football, Tom Brady's always, it's not like he's going to go out there and forget how to throw a football, right? But in baseball, there's just so many wild card scenarios that could happen over the course of a 162 game season. Just to throw an example out at you, the Baltimore Orioles are tied for first place right now in the American League East. They've played really well, and against some tough teams too. They played the Yankees that opening series, and the Yankees are at 500, and it's still early. None of this matters. And the number one thing that is said in April is you can never win a World Series in April, but you can lose one. So the teams that are kind of off to bad starts and don't necessarily look crisp, it's going to hurt them down the road when they need, when they're 3 or 4 games back and come September. But there's been surprises. The Phillies are undefeated. They're 4-0. Their bullpen, I don't think, has given up a run. I mean, that's pretty amazing considering that they had like the worst bullpen ERA in, modern history last season. As for kind of a local twist with the Giants, they're 500. They had the opening series in Seattle where they went 1-2, and the first game was kind of a blur. They scored a lot of runs, but the bullpen kind of blew the game late in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th inning. But that's kind of good. That's going to be the story of this team. They're going to hit, they're going to score runs as they did last season, but their starting pitching, they're going to need to rely on it. They're going to need to rely on their starting pitching. Their bullpen has to be perfect if they want to compete for maybe a wild card spot. For me, I don't think they're there yet. I know we touched on this, during the season preview, but I do think that the Giants have some, look, Longoria is hitting well. Posey had 2 home runs the first 2 games. If those guys could step up along with the other veteran players, this is going to be a much more interesting season for a Giants offense. Now, I want to touch on Shohei Ohtani because, I know Mike Trout and Mookie Betts are arguably the best players in baseball. I know Fernando Tatis Jr. and Tim Anderson and Trevor Bauer may be the most marketable players in baseball. But if we're talking exciting, and if we're talking somebody who really changes the game in a way that we haven't seen in hundreds of years, it's Shohei Ohtani. I mean, this guy single-handedly performed on Sunday Night Baseball, had the entire baseball world watching him and tuning into this game where he's pitching, he's hitting 400 feet homers. I mean, it was one of the most impressive displays. And if that's something that we could look forward to every 5th or 6th day, is him doing both, I mean, this is going to be one heck of a marketing idea for Rob Manfred and company. And I know, Jasper, we're always looking for ways for that marketing to get a lot better. But Shohei Ohtani, man, he is going down a path right now to be the most marketable player, and he's international. So it's a way wider, as we talked about with Tatis. Tatis has all of Latin America behind him. He's marketable in those areas. Shohei Ohtani is the same thing in terms of, baseball in Asia. He's got all of it behind him. He's the international star. And again, just to reiterate, if we could watch that, even if it's just 5 innings, throwing 100 miles an hour, hitting 450 feet bombs, that could be baseball's next big marketing thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it was crazy to see that first game where he just comes in, throws the hardest pitch of the season, walks up to the plate, and absolutely annihilates the baseball. He's so exciting to watch. And
you can make an argument he's the most talented player in the game because he does both.
Exactly. And I mean, you might also start to see a shift in culture with baseball too, where coaches are more willing to not force players to specialize so early and just keep them as these two-way guys. And it's just, there's nothing wrong with being a two-way guy. I mean, for so long in baseball, it's like you have to focus on hitting. You have to focus on fielding. You have to focus on pitching. But with Ohtani, it's like he can do both, and it's incredible to see.
And he's great at both.
Exactly. All right. Marco, our local Red Sox fan, had a tough weekend, got swept by the Baltimore Orioles. But his team was able to bounce back yesterday against the defending American League champs, the Tampa Bay Rays. Marco, what's your outlook on the season for this Red Sox team?
It's kind of too early to call right now. Because again, it's only a couple weeks into April. It's only a couple weeks into the season. There's a great old saying, I believe Bob Uecker used to say, there's a lot of ball game left. But looking at the player stats right now, it seems JD Martinez is leading in everything right now, which is good, but is also cringeworthy because if you think about it, JD Martinez shouldn't be carrying the team in average, in RBIs, and in all this stuff. If you think back to the last couple of years, who did they have on the top of the stat sheet? They had JD Martinez, yes, but they had Jackie Bradley Jr. They had Andrew Benintendi. They had Rafael Devers.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts is a big missing piece there. I hate to say it.
So what happens when you trade away all your best hitters? Oh, one person's left and he's carrying the team. Oh boy. So it's not looking good so far, but like I said, a lot of ball game left. So we'll just see what happens. Hopefully Devers can step up a little bit more. Christian Arroyo can step up. I'm looking also for one of our younger prospects. I can't remember his name. Bobby Dahlbeck. Looking for him to show up as well, because I believe this is his debut. Am I correct in saying that? This is his rookie
rookie.
debut?
He's a rookie. A lot of people are expecting him to be American League Rookie of the Year this year. So
I'm hoping so. So I have some hope for the Red Sox, but if JD Martinez carrying the team is going to tell the story of the season, it's not going to look good. I will just say that, because they don't have any hitters, because they traded away or let them walk. I have hope, like I said, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same position as a Rockies fan and an A's fan. Both these teams have gone off to pretty tough starts. I mean, the A's, it's more embarrassing just because they're losing to the Astros, and everyone hates the Astros. Dusty Baker actually had a quote today about how he thinks the Astros are getting mistreated, which is utterly ridiculous. He says they paid their dues. They have not even come close. And as you see more fans in baseball come back into the stands, you're going to see the Astros get a little more hate, and they're just going to have to deal with it. And it's going to be pretty incredible to see how they respond. And I'm really looking forward to when they enter Yankee Stadium and what's going to.
Yeah, and I think people miss what they did, how bad that actually. I mean, if you hear about it on the surface, they stole signs, they use technology to steal signs. Yeah, it sounds bad, but it doesn't sound that bad. But then you really get into the specifics and go, wow, these guys they really messed up. This is really bad. It's one of the biggest scandals of all time in the game. So yeah, I'd say they deserve to get booed.
Yeah.
Also, to add one more thing, I cannot wait for Chris Sale to come back. We need an ace, and Eovaldi has been good, but we need Sale back.
You
Most
mean
definitely.
to see Chris Sale get traded?
Wait, what?
Chris Sale's on the market. I hate to say it, Marco, but your Red Sox are in sell mode right now.
Oh boy. Okay. I'll brace myself. Thank you for that.
Of course. I mean, it all started with Mookie Betts. I feel like that trade really just kind of set the franchise on a far different path than they intended. But that's enough seam head talk for today. We're gonna get into some golf. The Masters starts Thursday on ESPN, moves to CBS this weekend. And Marco, give us your best Jim Nance real quick.
It's a tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
There we go. All right. Speaking of the Masters, Marco, who are your picks to show out in this year's Masters tournament? We know Tiger, sadly, will not be there. I think we're all really bummed about that. But which golfers are you looking to take a step this year?
Well, if you guys have watched the Valero Texas Open last week, you know that Jordan Spieth won it. It was his first win since 2017, which monkey off his back, which turned into a gorilla. So congratulations to him. But there is a pick that was from that kind of surprised everyone last year that I think could win it. And that is Korea's Sun Jae-im. He kind of shocked everybody by getting into the top 10 last year. And he was just putting up a great performance at Augusta. It was insane. The camera, there were some shots that I saw of him that were just jaw-dropping. He just was making incredible shots. And obviously he rewarded, or he bet on himself and he got into the top 5. So maybe this is a year he can win. Of course, everybody's thinking Dustin Johnson. He can go for the double Masters, green jacket, winning it in November and then winning it here in April. But another person I'm actually looking for, and this is a sleeper pick, Colin Morikawa. Morikawa is I have been so impressed with him since the PGA Championship in Harding Park. I have been so impressed with him. He has incredible touch. he can put the ball anywhere and get it within a few feet in the hole. He's just an incredible golfer. And those are my two big picks. But if we're talking others, I would go Brooks Koepka, maybe maybe Shane Lowry, Hideki Matsuyama, Rory McIlroy. Maybe Phil can get another green jacket before he permanently goes to the Champions Tour. So it's definitely going to be a great Masters though this year.
Yeah, and I think my biggest pick for this weekend, and especially Sunday, is Bryson DeChambeau. I think he's carried a lot of momentum coming off the PGA Championship Series. And it's going to be exciting to see if his Trevor Bauer-like mindset can finally get it done when the lights are the brightest. Moving on to
is he gonna golf with one eye open?
I sure hope so. I mean, who knows what Bryson will do? They'll probably take a scoop of protein powder before the first hole, wash it down with some water. We'll see how it goes though.
Vlog it all.
Definitely.
I wonder if people can drink protein shakes on the course.
Oh, absolutely you can. I'm pretty sure you can, but we won't get into that. Anyway, moving on to the NFL. Huge news. Sam Darnold is a Panther. Armand, what does this mean for the NFL draft and for the Jets? And I mean, even for the Panthers, because everyone expects them to take Trey Lance. And I'm kind of confused by the move. I mean, are they just stockpiling average quarterbacks? I don't know what's going on here. Armand, break it down for me.
Yeah, I think giving only a 6th-round pickup for, and obviously a 2nd rounder next year and a 4th rounder, I think that's a little. I was expecting a little more from the Jets, but I guess giving up a 6th rounder this year really shows that they were trying to get rid of him. I think Carolina, they have some leeway with them, but this all shows that maybe Bridgewater's on his way out, maybe. But I think if Bridgewater's gone, they might get a rookie quarterback still like Trey Lance. But I think this locks up maybe Zach Wilson to the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, I think I could even see Justin Fields being taken in that 2nd spot. Other huge news today, Mac Jones looks to be the 49ers pick. What are your thoughts on that, Armand?
Yeah, I see a lot of I saw Schefter talk about how Mac Jones is most likely going to go to the Niners, but I see a lot of backlash on that from Niner fans. I think they've been really harsh maybe towards Shanahan and Lynch, but I've had full. If you trade up to the 3rd pick, that's a statement in my opinion. This team was in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago, and injuries really plagued them last year. But I think what they've done in free agency is really big for the future. They showed the NFL that they're not playing around. They've made the big signings like Trent Williams, and they all of a sudden come down to the 3rd pick. But I think this is a big move for them, and I have full trust in the front office to get the job done.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think my only concerns with Mac Jones is he's kind of Mitch 2.0, where he had this perfect situation. I mean, not that Mitch had a perfect situation in North Carolina, but he has this perfect situation in Alabama where he looks great. He's throwing to the best receivers in college football. He's handing it off and checking down to the best running back in college football. So, I mean, if anyone can scheme something up for him, it's Shanahan, but I'd hate to see him make a mistake here, especially with all that they've given up for this 3rd round pick. 3rd overall pick. Marco, what do you think of this trade?
If you're talking about the Sam Darnold trade, I like it.
No,
I like it a lot.
Moving up. I'm talking about moving up in the draft.
Oh, I apologize. So the third overall pick is indeed a statement. I agree with that. But Mac Jones should be a plan B or plan C, if I'm honest. Because when you have a guy like Trey Lance and you have a guy like Justin Fields on the board, who are 2 mobile QBs who have great deep balls, but also have great mid-range passes. Obviously, you have guys like George Kittle. You have guys like Ross Dwell. You have some guys who are really good in the short game. I would definitely consider it. And the other issue that I have with Mac Jones is that he's kind of stiff as a board. He doesn't really move a lot. He's not mobile, and as especially considering the woes that the offensive line had the past couple of years, it's not going to look good if Mac Jones is in that system. I mean, I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't think it should that should be like a plan A. It's kind of a I don't know, but I kind of agree with Armand. I trust what the front office does, and obviously if Shanahan wants his guy, he's gonna get it. He expressed his infatuation with Kirk Cousins, and this is kind of that archetype. This is kind of that Kirk Cousins type that with Mac Jones. So if he wants his guy, let him get his guy. Let him work with his guy and let him get that success. And just don't judge if it doesn't work, because that was his guy.
Yeah, and I think the most perplexing thing for me about this draft is just the way Justin Fields' stock has fallen. Like, I've seen him in most recent mock drafts down to 9 even. And I mean, just how high people are on Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson and Justin Fields are the same player, except Justin Fields has proved that he can get it done against top talent teams. And it's kind of ridiculous to me that we're letting this guy, Zach Wilson, who wasn't even a captain at BYU, kind of take the shine away from Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields outdueled Trevor Lawrence to get to a championship. He got hurt and then didn't beat the best team in college football, and we're punishing him for that. Like, I'm sorry, but I haven't seen anything at Zach Wilson's pro day that makes me think he's better than Justin Fields and should be the number 2 pick in the draft. Yeah. Marco, what are your thoughts on Justin Fields?
I like him. I like him a lot. So let me go on a quick tangent of a little story here. So on the day of his pro day, I was on Instagram and the NFL was showing his highlights and all that, and all they were showing was his deep passes. And I was like, okay, that's great. But if the 49ers are serious about getting him, I want to see him in those mid-range throws, like the 10, the 15s, the 5s. Because like I said, if they're drafting somebody into a system with George Kittle, with Brandon Ayuk, with Deebo Samuel, with now Mohamed Sanu, who can be that great slot receiver who can kind of go on those short little routes and get yards after catch, I want to see more consistency with that. And I went to YouTube and I watched all of his throws from his pro day, and I saw exactly that. I saw exactly what I needed to see, and I saw exactly what I needed to assess that he is indeed a good fit, because he's able to put it in the exact right spot. And I'll admit, he missed a throw. He missed, I believe it was a right cut pass to the tight end. And he either threw it too far or he threw it out of bounds. But he tried it again and he succeeded. So he perseveres. If he doesn't like something, he goes back until it's right. So that's a good morale to have in that system. Somebody who doesn't just. I heard Grant Cohn talk about this with Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo. Kind of like, it's okay, I'm having fun. I missed a pass. It's okay. No, Justin Fields gets to work. He has grit, and he says, no, I didn't do this right. I'm doing this again, and gets it right.
Yeah, and if he slips down for the draft board, it's going to be one heck of a steal for whatever team is able to grab him. And I mean, especially if they can give him a year to like kind of get acclimated to a system, build around him. He's going to be scary. He's going to be a scary player in the NFL, and I'm really excited to watch him play. All right, speaking of the NFL, draft coming up. Marco, do you have a mock of the week for us?
I do. So let's go to a different timeline, shall we? A different timeline where Mac Jones is indeed a plan C. And let's just say Justin Fields and Trey Lance, they find something in him that they don't like, and they suddenly say, okay, let's see if we can trade down and recoup that 2022 second and third. And that's my mock of the week. I think they trade down one pick to number 4. That way, the Falcons can get Trey Lance, and the 49ers with that 4th pick get Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida. And here's why. A lot of people will say, no, why not select Fields if he's at 4? But think about it this way. They can get Kellen Mond in the 2nd round. They can get Kyle Trask in the 2nd round. There are a lot of good quarterbacks that they can get in the later rounds that are not Justin Fields or Mac Jones or somebody like that. What Kyle Pitts adds, what he doesn't have in blocking, he adds in his route tree. He has been praised for probably one of the most expansive route trees in this draft. The 49ers just lost Kendrick Bourne. Maybe convince him to swing out to wide receiver. If not, put like a 2 tight end set, put Dwelly in the slot, 2 tight ends, Pitts, Kittle. And I think if in terms of the blocking problems, Shanahan they can easily train that into him. Obviously, Kittle was criticized when he was drafted in the 5th round that he was drafted. He was criticized for not being able to block and being even more of a blocking tight end than a catching tight end. And look at him. He's blossomed into probably one of the best tight ends in the league. So to sum up, Niners trade down if Jones isn't even an option anymore to 4, get Pitts, Falcons get Lance.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kyle Pitts is going to be a problem wherever he goes. This guy is built for the NFL. I'm honestly excited to see him in the slot. I'm excited to see him at tight end. I don't care where he is on the field. He's going to be exciting. And I mean, yeah, I can honestly see the Niners. I can see any team taking Kyle Pitts just because of what a great talent he is. And the Falcons do want to get rid of that 4th round pick, which I really just don't understand because I think Matt Ryan's on his way out. Why not draft a quarterback to get ready behind him? But maybe they see something that we don't. Teams always do. But yeah, no, I really like the trade. And I think Kyle Pitts he's a monster. Bottom line, he's a monster. He's humble and he's ready to work. He's like Justin Fields in a lot of ways.
He's touted as a future Hall of Famer because of those skills.
Yeah, no, I mean, this draft is going to be the craziest in years, and I'm excited to see it play out.
I am too.
All right. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, 60-second rants. We're going to start with Steve today because, I don't know, he just has this look in his eye today that he's ready to talk some games. So we're going to start right now.
Yes, first of all, Major League Baseball moved their All-Star game out of Atlanta due to the voting right controversy and a legislation that was passed there. And it will be moved to Coors Field in Colorado. So one thing to look at, the home run derby, guys, is going to be absolutely outstanding. Also, I found a crazy stat last night. Jacob deGrom made his season debut. Jacob deGrom now has a 2.07 ERA since 2018, and the Mets are 36-41 in his starts. He has no run support. Also, Skyline Baseball is starting their season. We're writing something about this, should be out pretty soon. On this Saturday against Monterey Peninsula, Saturdays will be doubleheader days, and Thursdays, and I guess occasionally Fridays will be one game played. So Skyline getting ready to go. We'll have more information coming up soon from the Skyline View, but that is my 60-second rant.
Wow, perfect timing, Steve. Always thorough. Love to hear it. All right, Armand, kicking it out to you.
All right, so the apparel I have on today is Justin Jefferson from the Vikings, and I think the Vikings need to make a statement in this NFC North. I think they need to be the team that comes out in free agency. They made a couple nice acquisitions like Patrick Peterson, Anthony Barr was re-signed. I think they need to make a statement with the free agency being so cold lately. They should get a guy like Richard Sherman that's still there, or a Quan Alexander, or an AJ Boye, Melvin Ingram. That defense was tremendously bad last year. And I think they have a top maybe 7 offense in the league with Dalvin Cook, Thielen, Cousins leading the way, and Justin Jefferson coming up after an awesome rookie year. But I think what this team needs is a really good defense like they had a couple years ago that will probably match up well with the Packers offense. And I think they need to make a statement in the offseason and probably win the NFC North title.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see just how the NFC North plays out with all that movement this year. All right, Alvin, let's hear it.
Well, I believe everyone heard there's a trade possible between the Warriors and the Pelicans, which is they're going to trade Lonzo Ball for Kelly Oubre. Personally, I think because currently Warriors in the Western Conference is 10th seed. If the Warriors want to battle for the playoff, yeah, they can trade for Lonzo Ball, especially on the offensive end. Ball has a 3-pointer, and then I believe he has more experience. But if the Warriors doesn't want to battle for the playoff, I don't think that's worst, for trade, especially, I believe Kelly Oubre plus Jordan Poole or another draft pick for the Lonzo Ball. So that possibly happened, but I would like to see if Lonzo Ball come to Warriors. That's what his father like, and let's see what happened.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of moves the Warriors make going forward and if they can really make a playoff push this season. Marco, let's hear it.
I want to talk about Chelsea FC. This has been my team since I was a little kid, and I originally liked them because I like the color blue, and that was a perfect fit. But right now, I'm a sad Blues fan because right now we are struggling. We just got a new head coach in Thomas Tuchel, and it seems like how do you lose to West Brom? How do you lose to West Brom? This is a team. Chelsea has been a team that has had a great midfield with Christian Pulisic, and they were a force to be reckoned with during the what was it called? The games where they just first came back, and now they're struggling to get 3 points. They're struggling to get any points. Thomas Tuchel, you got to figure something out because right now they're in 5th and they're out of a spot. I'm kind of scared for this team because there's probably going to be a lot of pieces that are going to be gone this year.
We covered every sport, Jasper. You have a lot to live up to.
Jeez. I mean, hey, at least Chelsea is an Arsenal. All right. I'm just going to talk about the Rockies and what we can get for who we're going to trade. So we'll probably trade German Marquez. You hear the deflation in my voice, just how bad we are. German Marquez, Trevor Story. I don't think we'll get anything for Charlie Blackmon just because we signed him to a contract late in his career. There are some things to be excited about. Kyle Freeland's coming back. Hopefully he can recapture that Cy Young form. I think he still has it in him. Ryan McMahon, I'm excited to see him get a full season at third base. He clearly was not ready for first, and it's exciting to see him back at his home position. Raimel Tapia, another exciting player to watch. Hopefully we don't trade him, but wouldn't be surprised if we do. And Daniel Barr's been throwing the ball pretty well. I mean, obviously he walked the bases loaded opening day, but his fastball is lively. The yips are gone. And yeah, hopefully the Rockies don't mess up these trades. We need prospects. We need to retool the farm system. And hopefully Jeff Broderick figures it out.
Real quick before we go, if Tatis is out for the year in San Diego with the shoulder separation, Trevor Story to the Padres. We don't have to get into it now, but just a thought.
But what does that say about the big contract they signed him to? So I'll leave you guys with that. This has been our sports show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.